7:30. Tell me when you're ready. Welcome, everyone, to this regular city council meeting for October 20th, 2025. Marie, would you please call the roll?
Fritz,
Here.
Lowe,
Here.
McLaughlin,
Here.
Manetza.
Here. Is there anyone scheduled for invocation? Okay. Please rise and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we have no appointments, reappointments. Brings us to the approval of the consent and regular agendas. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Support?
Motion by Fritz, second by Lowe. Changes to the consent or regular agenda. Anyone?
I was actually going to pull the public hearing, item 13, but after talking to our city clerk, I decided that that wouldn't happen. I really believe that to properly have a public hearing, that all the documents should be available to the public. And when we have a report that came out of a consultant that lists a lot of other documents, I've always felt that those documents should be attached to the packet. But we'll let the public hearing go through, but I think this project is far from being ready to
Okay.
vote on.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure what's missing from the packet, their application.
Well, I think if you would have read it, you would have seen
And the
it. but-
Plant Moran is attached. So those are there, and we wouldn't be taking action tonight anyway. That's not on our agenda. So if nothing else, then call the roll, please.
Fritz,
Yes.
Lowe,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. All right, that brings us to our first call to the audience. At this time, members of the audience may address council on any item, whether on the agenda or not. Those addressing council are asked to provide their name and address, will be limited to 3 minutes of speaking time. Council will hear all comments for future consideration, but will not have a response at this time. Those not physically present who would like to call in may dial 616-935-3203. And there is a public hearing, as we just discussed, regarding the project on Columbus Avenue. So if you want to make comment on that, you can wait for the public hearing. Otherwise, anything that you'd like to address council about, please give us your name and address and tell us what you think.
Mike Weavers, 637 Lake Avenue, Grand Haven. It's kind of a general statement here. We've got an election coming up, and I'm a little impressed, disappointed, that we're not talking about, because I was shocked, that we have lost 1,000 Grand Haven public school students in the last 10 years. And we are slated to lose another 600 by the end of this decade. That's a phenomenal amount for what has always been a good school system, a great place to live. I'm not sure why this hasn't been discussed earlier, but I'm bringing it up in this venue because, one, I think some of our zoning plays a role in this, not just ours, but everybody in the area, density and a few other things. But I guess the reason I'm bringing it up is that's just a tremendous amount of people. We just shut down Mary A. White School. That's been perennial, been there for goodness gracious, 50, 60 years maybe. And we're probably slated to lose another school or two. And if this pace keeps up, this is going to be a retirement community for people over 55. And we're going to be in deep trouble if we're not already. So I'm bringing that up because it ties in with the other things here. And one of them you're putting on the agenda, or you've put out there for the election. I think it's a 2 mil tax increase. Beside what it's for, here's the problem. You guys have a budget. If this is important, it should be in the budget. You should weigh pros and cons and get it in there. It shouldn't be on this. You know, you shouldn't ask the citizens, because right now, we historically set at 30 mils per thousand in this community forever. And then all of a sudden, during the McGinnis era, we went to 32, 34, 36 mils, and I think we might be hitting 38 with this if we approve this. That is a almost 30% increase, and this is on top of the valuations that have skyrocketed in this area. And so it brings me down to the next point. You've got a couple projects on here that, to my line of thinking, when you start giving away tax abatements for these projects, it's one thing to be in an area where things are going downhill and these properties are never going to move. These properties that are on the request, I think one's on Columbus and one's on Washington, they're not poor, okay? They're not building affordable homes. I think a good chunk of it's just rentals. And those should not be construed to be affordable housing, because guess what? All they do is keep raising it up over time. So I think it's, to me personally, I consider it a bailout. People who've made mistakes, or they want more money than they need to have. So I think this community needs to take a hard look at the big picture. And you better start with the students that we're losing because we don't have things affordable. So when you hand out these tax abatements, when you do this sort of thing, when you do these projects and you say, oh, it's a great idea, it comes at a cost. And the cost right now looks like a lot of students missing. So anyways, thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Mike.
My name is Jeffrey Miller, and I live at 1120 South Harbor Drive. I would like to take this opportunity to thank City Council members Lowe and McLaughlin for their years of public service. Known to most of their constituents as Karen and Kevin, they were swept into office 4 years ago with a strong mandate from the electorate. They helped stop the building of the power plant on Harbor Island. In so doing, they have also been actively involved in its remediation. They brought the severely underfunded city employee pension obligation liability to the fore. They put this issue front and center for future budgetary planning that will address the challenges. 3, they were steadfast in recognizing, supporting, and setting time aside for the LGBTQ and Latino communities, despite pressure and prejudice from their opponents. And 4, with community engagement, their guidance for the new plans for Chinook Pier will create a new gateway to visitors and locals alike. While tax abatement incentives were sought, they always did their due diligence, using their business acumen, real-world experience, and education. They asked the tough questions so that any deal that was agreed upon was a win-win for both the developer and the city. They have overseen the hiring of key personnel. Our new city manager, city clerk, and chief of police will serve the city well with new and innovative approaches to current and future challenges and opportunities. And unlike the BLP that saw citizen initiatives as threats, Karen and Kevin embrace change by challenging the status quo and questioning people who would say, We've always done it this way. To their credit, they have also spent time tending to many individual resident concerns. No problem for them was too big or too small. And there is no need to say that their integrity is beyond reproach. Kevin and Karen's dedication to service was never for their own glory or prestige. They'll never see their names on a cornerstone of a new building, but that's not why they ran for office. And lastly, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the unwavering support of their families. Much was sacrificed by the Lowe and McLaughlin loved ones for the benefit of our city. We as a community are much better off for having had Karen and Kevin as our loyal and humble civil servants these past 4 years. So to Karen and Kevin, thank you for your service, dedication, and time well spent on behalf of our city's behalf. Now, can you guys fix my parking tickets?
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. Who else would like to address council? There will be another opportunity to address council at the end of the meeting for another general call to the audience, and then we do have our public hearing coming up in a few minutes. So if no one else is coming forward, I'm going to close the call to the audience, move on to our consent agenda. Marie, would you read that?
Item A, approve the special work session and regular council meeting minutes for October 6, 2025. Item B, approve the bills memo in the amount of $2,275,892.33. And item C, approve the fiscal year 2025-26 budget amendments for the general 101, major streets 202, local streets 203, downtown TIF revenue 245, Grand Landing TIF revenue 246, Grand Haven DDA 248, Lighthouse Maintenance 276, Public Improvement 401, NORA 508, Sewer Authority 509, NOWS 510, Airport 581, City Sewer 590, City Water 591, Marina 594, Motor Pool 661, and Insurance 677 funds.
Can I get a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support?
Motion by Fritz, second by Lowe. Comments or questions on any of these items?
Emily, on the general fund, there's a lot of increases and decreases. What's the bottom line of that? I didn't see any total. I guess maybe I'm missing it.
The bottom line is we're still, we're not over budget. So we're still in the black with those amendments.
With all those amendments?
Yes. In a lot of these, so the insurance in the, I guess insurance in general, a lot of these, we don't have the final numbers when you approve the final
I
budget in May.
understand.
And so these are, we have the numbers for insurance, to take one, for example. And
Okay.
so I can do the budget amendments now, knowing what those numbers
So
are.
it's still within the budget that we
We're
approved?
still within the budget, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Anything else? Please call the roll.
Fritz,
Yes.
Lowe,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. We have one item of unfinished business. Would you please read that?
Item A, consideration by City Council of a final resolution for a zoning change request from MDR, Moderate Density Residential, to B, Beech Tree District for a portion of 601 South Beech Tree Street, parcel number 70-03-28-277-017.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
In second.
Motion by Lowe, second by Fritz, and this is the second reading of the zoning change. Are there any changes since our last?
There have not
consideration?
been any changes.
Okay. Council,
Good.
please call the roll.
Lowe,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. All right, so that brings us to our public hearing for this evening. I'm opening a public hearing regarding a resolution to approve a Commercial Rehabilitation Act exemption certificate at 1445 Columbus Street parcel number 70-03-21-477-017, legal description of lots 22, 23, and 24, Corals Edition, pursuant to Public Act 210 of 2005 as amended. And there won't be action on this tonight, but we're opening a public hearing. So anyone would like to address council on this particular item? Well, actually, before we do that, Dana, would you like to explain what this is about?
Yes, Your Honor.
And
Good
then Mike can come up.
Yeah, good evening, Council. So before you is a project that West Wind Construction and its partners are looking to pursue at 1445 Columbus. That would involve the construction of single, multi-story residential building. 45 new units would be created. They have been putting together their capital stack for this project and have come to the city with a request to seek a commercial rehabilitation abatement. It is already within the Beach Street Corridor Rehabilitation District, that was established in 2023. So past abatements you're probably familiar with, we had to establish the district and have a hearing for that process as well, and that's already established. So this is a different process where the developer can come forward with a request for an abatement. We are having the public hearing first, and then a follow-up meeting would see us taking action at that meeting. So the apartments itself, though, are market rate. They would first need to demolish 2 existing commercial structures that are on the 2 parcels that they are looking to redevelop. And the report, I do want to point out a couple of highlights from our report from Plant Moran. They did indicate that this project, with the incentive, would see a roughly little less than 6% return and just a debt service coverage ratio of 1, which is low and below what is typical or typically financeable. So their conclusion with all of the information that they received was that, but for the incentive, the project wouldn't be feasible. There was a note included in the report that indicated they would like us, before issuing the actual incentive, to reconfirm the numbers. The budget that we received was based on an equivalent project of theirs that they'd already completed. They are a builder, so Plant Moran verbally did share with us that they really weren't really concerned with that, but the developer is providing those updated numbers. We'll have those available. They're not anticipating any material changes really to what they submitted in terms of the total project budget, but we will make sure that we have those in and take a look at that before that's submitted or before we take any action here as City Council.
All right. And is there a representative of the project that would like to speak before we hear from the public?
I don't see them here.
Okay. All right, we're in public hearing now. Mike, you can start to get up.
Mike Weaver, 637 Lake Avenue, Grand Haven. Anyways, this is a continuation, obviously, because I did call this one out. So this building, the main building there, was purpose-built probably 20 years ago at the best by this same developer. And good people, I'm not saying anything that we don't have great developers, but here's the thing. They want to flip the script, tear this building down and move. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but they just built this building 20 or 30 years ago, all right? And it was purpose-built, to my understanding. So they're asking the citizens, who you are, once again, are asking for a tax increase to subsidize this project. And I guess I'm going to just point blank say, every time you subsidize these projects, what you actually do is drive up real estate prices in the whole area, because that becomes a component of value. Now, this thing's owned probably outright, maybe free and clear. It's really not the citizen's job, and it's because you're a reps. It's not the citizen's job to make it easier for a developer to do something. Okay? And again, if we were in dire straits, if our property values were tanking, if this property had sat forever, yeah, then we can look at it. But you know what? All this is saying, hey, we can make more money this way than this way, and if we get this bailout, and that's what it is, we can make even more money. And so I'm kind of here saying, really start thinking about putting a stop to this. I was seriously shocked at how many students we've lost, and it is a function of affordable housing. And as you drive up these real estate prices, and you're seeing it, you're seeing these condos, 1,000 square feet for $600 a square foot. I've talked to the guys building, they're building at $200 and $300 a foot. It's a lot of profit. So don't feel sorry for these people. I did development. You're approving one for Clover Bar, I think, coming up. You know what? They're not asking for any money. They're just saying, here, this is a higher and better use. So nobody's asking, and I've done projects, I never asked for any money. So think about that every time these guys, and if you haven't noticed, a lot of them are high rollers. They're not just starting out. They've been around the block. So anyways, just my 2 cents, and I really think the city's got to take a hard look at all this stuff we've done, because obviously we've taken it on the chin before. Grand Landing's probably still on our books. And, you know, we've made some bad decisions, and I hate to see us continue down that road. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else would like to speak? This is the public hearing for the 1445 Columbus Street project. If no one else is coming forward, I'm going to close the public hearing. And we don't have on our agenda to take action tonight on the certificate because our policy is that we wait for a subsequent meeting to do that. So there will be more to come on this, and certainly you can correspond with the city more if you, outside of public hearing if you need to. So we will close that and move on. So it brings us to our first item of new business. Would you please read that?
Item A, consideration by City Council of a resolution to authorize staff to enter into lease negotiations with the Grand Haven Children's Museum for museum space at Central Park Place. Administration recommends approval.
Can I get a motion?
So
Moved.
All
Second.
right. Could have gone either way.
Definitely.
Motion by Lowe, second by McLaughlin. I think I'll start with Ashley. Would you like to be in?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. So at your previous city council meeting, we received a presentation from Rachel representing the Grand Children's Museum. That presentation was a summary of a proposal made to the city for the use of a portion of Central Park Place for the construction and operation of a children's museum. So as a reminder, that proposal included the lower level of Central Park Place as well as a small portion of the upper level, as well as proposing construction off the backside of the facility. So following that presentation, we've had numerous rounds of dialogue with Rachel and team. Staff believes there is significant merit and opportunity to this proposal as far as how it could benefit the city as well as the community and its potential to significantly offset our operating costs for that facility. So as we mentioned at your previous meeting, we're seeking consensus this evening to authorize staff to further engage with the museum representatives to negotiate a potential lease to bring back forward to City Council. And in that lease, we would look to further negotiate space uses and access, base rent, utility contributions, construction timelines and responsibilities, as well as other long-term maintenance and operational expenses. So we're just seeking consensus this evening.
Okay. Are you also seeking any direction on what to negotiate, or you mainly just want permission to negotiate?
Direction would be helpful as we look to enter negotiations with the Children's Museum, just as we are all engaging with additional legal fees and design fees. So it would be valuable to staff.
Okay, well then I guess that we heard from Rachel and team at the previous presentation, and they're available if there's comments or questions. Otherwise, I'll just go around the table here and ask for input from council members.
I'll start, I guess. No, I'm obviously very much in support of this. Hopefully we can get this done as quick as we possibly can. I know you came in with $1 rent, and I firmly support that. Not that I'm going to have anything to say about it, but you know, looking at the amount of money that this city will save as a result of that, you taking that space and paying for those utilities is in hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if this deal goes sour because of that, I think we're making a huge, huge mistake in this community. So I hope that, you know, everybody can get together, the new council, and Ashley and yourself can get together and put together a lease agreement that makes sense. But I really support as less of a ongoing lease payment as we can because of what you're taking on from a building perspective.
Right?
Sure. I'm looking forward to go forward with this, but I also have to remember that we also have other renters that rent from us, and we make sure that the deal is the same as we give everybody else. There's no favoritism. Make sure that we run it as it should be. This is still a city, and we still have to be liable to it. There's other businesses that have put a lot of money into the buildings that we have, so make sure that we have the same kind of lease, that it's equal to all the other ones that we have. That's my main concern. Other than that, I'm in favor of going forward with this and looking forward to seeing how it's going to be. It's a great acquisition for us to have there for us, so I'm looking forward to it.
Karen?
I'm very supportive of this, and I think anyone who delves into the details behind it understands just how beneficial this is to the city from a fiscal perspective, as well as to our entire community, the public good. To have a children's museum in our town is an extremely attractive thing for our community, and it's something that I know our community really wants. And so I see this as a win-win, and I think anyone who gets into the details will see that too, that this is, the structure of the value proposition is slightly different, but I think delving into the detail, you can see just how beneficial this will be to the city. Certainly is much more beneficial than our status quo. So I'm very supportive of this.
All right, and, you know, I think that when we had the presentation, we all spoke a little bit then. I think there was a general acknowledgement that we all see a great deal of value in having a children's museum come to town, and that would be a great location for it, and that it's a building which has had a problem for the city for a long time. We've invested a lot of taxpayer money in this, a lot of voters' money that has been put into making this, it's really a beautiful building. It works well, but it's underutilized, and we've lost money on it every year. So I would like to see that mitigated, stopped. I'd like to see us break even if we could, whatever it takes, but I think we need to make the best deal we can for those who invested so much in this building. So I think that when you start talking about rental rate, it won't be $1 per year, but it will be some number. It won't be market rate either. It'll be some other number that kind of works for everybody, helps mitigate our losses, but also makes a good opportunity for the Children's Museum to operate. So I would hope that we can come to a realistic agreement on the rent, the maintenance, common area maintenance, as we mentioned before. It has to be negotiated as to who's responsible for how much of that, because even though you have a split of utilities and you have dedicated areas within the building, there's still common areas which are not rentable by anybody but mechanical and electrical rooms, the loading dock, the envelope of the building, the roof, things like that all need to be taken care of, and it's going to take either the city does it and gets it out of the rent, or there's some other agreement to take care of those things. All those details you have to negotiate, so we do fair by both the Children's Museum and by the people of the city who have built this building. There was some talk about, can you separate utilities? Maybe, I don't know. You'd have to get into the details of that. Probably not that hard to separate the water utilities, maybe the gas, maybe the electric. I don't know if it's possible to separate the HVAC without building a whole new system, and maybe that's where it goes, I don't know. That's another piece of negotiation. And then we've talked about parking spaces. The parking, right now there's a common lot that they use, there's some street parking. And if we get anywhere near the number of visitors that the Children's Museum anticipates getting, there's going to be a burden on our parking and on traffic generally. So there may be a requirement to do something about maintaining the parking, possibly even building parking. I don't know, probably not with building new parking, but certainly the traffic, if it materializes, will be something that you should have a good understanding between the city and the Children's Museum, who's responsible for what. So another piece for you to negotiate. And I also want you to take a good hard look at how the remainder of the community center spaces are going to function. We'll still have the main ballroom and we'll still have the theater. In order for that to work as possibly conference space where you need breakout rooms or weddings where you need preparation rooms, make sure that we've got those spaces available to us, and it means adjusting how much is being rented out and how much is going to be retained by us. Make that part of your negotiation so that we know what we're going to end up with and that what we end up with is viable for our own uses. So I think what the proposal we got from Children's Museum is a very good proposal. There's also a number of questions we need to answer, and now is the time to get those answers. So I'm very much in favor of negotiating. I think that if this comes to fruition, it'll be a big benefit to all of us. And as I always say, the devil's in the details, so let's find out where those details are. So that would be my thoughts. I don't know if anybody else has anything else they'd like to contribute, but I think you got a consensus here that we'd like to see the negotiations proceed. Anyone else? Anything else from your staff?
Nope, that's helpful, thank you.
Okay, like I said, I would open the floor to Rachel. I'm not sure that we need to have more input on that at this point because we've seen the presentation.
Just call for a vote.
So let's just call for a vote. I agree.
Lowe,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. Thank you. All right, next item, please.
Item B, consideration by City Council of a resolution to approve a lease with Ottawa County for the use of Lot 24 for public parking. Administration recommends approval.
Can I get a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Motion by Lowe, second by
Me.
McLaughlin. Sometimes on that side, that you guys sound the same.
Wow.
Okay. I'm sorry. Didn't mean that to sound insulting.
No, it wasn't. I was just kidding.
I was kidding also. All right, so this is a Dana question or an Ashley question?
I'll introduce it.
Okay.
So this has been a few months in the making. We recently approved a memorandum of understanding with Ottawa County to carry us forward through the approval process for our anticipated downtown hotel as the primary influence behind these collaborative discussions with the county. So as a reminder, this is the more formal lease agreement to follow that MOU. It's for Lot 24, which is off of Franklin and 4th, and that lot has about 69 spaces. We do anticipate a subsequent agreement with 6 p.m. Hospitality for 39 of those spaces for hotel development, but that parking lot will overall be maintained and operated as any standard downtown public parking lot. So we will, again, operate that with our standard overnight permit fee program. So it won't look any different than our other downtown lots. The agreement is relatively straightforward, but most notably, the county is going to be responsible for snow and ice removal as well as lawn care maintenance. City would be responsible then for trash removal and other resurfacing and repairs and maintenance to the surface lot itself. And then we would agree to split revenue generated from the permit parking fees 50% with the county. Which, as a reminder, those overnight permit fees for an annual permit are $120 a year.
Questions by council? Sounds like this has been a great idea, great collaboration with the county, and kudos to Ashley and her staff and to the county for coming together on this because it solves more than just one problem, provides a benefit generally for downtown. So I think it's great.
Thank you.
Please call the roll.
Lowe,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. All right, so we have another item here. Would you please read that?
Item C, consideration by City Council of a resolution to approve an obsolete property rehabilitation act exemption certificate at 224 Washington Avenue, parcel number 70-03-20-436-011, with a legal description of west 43 feet of north 58 feet, lot 243, and west 43 feet, lot 244, original plat pursuant to Public Act 146 of 2000 as amended. The EDC/BRA Board recommends approval, administration recommends approval.
All right, I need a motion so that we can talk about this.
So moved.
Motion by Fritz,
I'll second for discussion purposes.
second by Lou. Okay, so, just to preface this a little bit, we did have a public hearing on this at our last meeting. Per our policy, it comes back to a subsequent meeting. We have it on this agenda for the action on the Rehabilitation Act exemption certificate, which was, like I said, this would be a resolution, so it'd be dealt with in a single motion as opposed to an ordinance amendment. And we've had an extra complication that we've discovered that it's come to our attention, at least my attention, just a short time ago, that the contractor is in arrears to the city on property taxes, which means that we can't actually execute a contract with them at this point in time. But it's on our agenda. We've got a motion and a second, so we're going to talk about the agenda item. Who would like to begin?
Well,
I'll be happy to.
you gonna start?
Go ahead.
Sure. I think I've been vocal on not supporting the tax abatements for this particular property. Just as a review, I think approximately 4 weeks ago, about a month ago, City Council approved 3-1 a tax abatement in the form of the Brownfield TIF for this property. That was for their second floor, where they are creating 7 apartments, 3 which have no exterior windows. And so they have asked for brownfield money, $202,000 some and change of our tax dollars to be used as a subsidy for attainable housing for those 3 units, largely because they couldn't get market rate for those 3 units. Now, that already passed a month ago. Now we are faced with a second, request, to approve an obsolete property Rehabilitation Act exemption certificate for the same location. And I'd just like to remind people of the facts around this particular property. The property owner purchased the property in 2020, came to us in 2019. It's been vacant since 2018 when the prior owners closed the business. Came to us in 2019 asking us for a parking exemption, which the city granted them. 2020, the property was purchased by the current owner. In 2021, they came to us and said they needed the city assessor to declare it an obsolete property, which the city assessor did. Then in 2022, the developer moved to Florida and forgot about the property and left it vacant until this year. And now this year, coming with a complaint that this is an obsolete property that has sat empty on our main street, and he wants to build attainable housing and finish the first floor. And for that, he needs this brownfield tax abatement. He needs an additional tax abatement that we're discussing this evening, and he's applying to a Michigan Economic Development Council grant for $1.1 million. Now, you might ask, as Mr. Weavers has asked, what public good comes from these tax abatements? Because what our Economic Development Council and Brownfield Redevelopment Authority should be doing is looking at using that money for a public good. Typically, the brownfield dollars are used to help remediate some environmental concern that maybe the property owner wasn't aware of, but now has become a problem from a building perspective. And that seems to be a very good use in terms of getting a building updated. In this case, it is my opinion that part of the reason why this is an obsolete property is because of the owner himself. He's left it abandoned And instead of rewarding him by providing these tax abatements, I believe city council should be stricter on the building code enforcement. Certainly not reward them by approving this certificate. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Karen, for that. As you all know, I was very hesitant to approve the previous resolution. I did the initial digging, I think, somehow I'll get back to the mayor, on the property taxes of 224 Washington. The owner has been delinquent in 23 and 24, ended up paying them, but they were delinquent. Any of us, we all try to pay our taxes on time. And his were due on September 15th, and he still owes the city $22,410. Based on, after I thought about this project, I absolutely agree with Karen. The numbers don't make a lot of sense to me, and then when the gentleman doesn't even have the decency to pay his taxes, I will absolutely not support this. I think if he wants to try to take the building and do it some other way, you know, God bless him, but I'm not going to support this.
All right.
Thanks, Kevin. Under the, knowing that he owes a lot of money right now to us and that it's very hard for us to move forward on this, I don't foresee us being able to move forward. I myself personally would like to see it either postponed or to a later date if we want to, or whatever. It would be nice. It is a vacant building. It needs, and the laws have changed as far as brownfield, and that has, Dana probably can relate to that a little bit for it, to be able to have something like that be a brownfield. They have the new laws that came out from the state. The state is one that gave us the option for it. But I can't vote for this tonight. I'd like to postpone it if I could. It'd be really nice.
Well, let me make a comment here. The charter says that we cannot enter into a contract with anyone who is in arrears with the city on anything, and that would include property tax, so we can't approve this until that's cured. We could postpone and wait until such time as taxes are paid. I think that there's a certain amount of, I guess I have a problem with somebody who's asking for a tax break, hasn't been paying his taxes anyway. It seems like kind of a big miss. Should we have known sooner? Well, you know, this never come up before. We've never had anybody so bold as to come and ask for tax abatement when they haven't been paying their taxes anyway. So I'm kind of surprised by that one. So the fact that we didn't ask that question is because we never really thought we needed to. Apparently we do. We'll have to change our process a bit. I'm willing to postpone this and see if it gets fixed. If it can't get postponed, I can't vote yes. Simple as that. So,
I would prefer not to postpone. I
Well-
prefer to vote.
okay, Mike, did you want to make a motion to postpone?
I'd like to make a motion to postpone it.
Is there a second for that?
No.
I would second it, but I think the motion would fail anyway, so I think that, I mean, I could second it, we could vote, and it'd be tied 2-2, so the motion would fail anyway, so we're not going to go there. So I guess that this comes down to the motion to postpone, we'll let die. We'll vote on this.
Yes.
Please call the roll.
Fritz?
I really think it'd be a great thing for us to move forward, but no.
Maloney?
No.
McLaughlin?
No.
Manetza?
No.
This motion fails.
Okay. Not to say that you couldn't go through the process of starting over. It would be a start over because this was defeated. I guess you could make the stand that we voted no, we didn't vote yes to deny, but I think it's pretty definitive as it stands. So we'll let this one be, if they choose to start over, they can fix their problems and then start over. Okay, let's move on. Brings us to Report by city council. Who would like to go first?
No, somebody else go ahead.
I'm good.
No report?
No report? Oh, geez. Well, last good day it sounds like we had today, so be prepared for cold to come again. There's a report for you.
All right.
There's no Tigers tonight, so hopefully they can sign Scooble and keep them, but who knows?
I want to, if I could, I want to really go back on,
Are you done, Mike?
are you doing, I'm sorry.
Oh, go right ahead.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all done.
I'm just gonna
I was just gonna rattle on since nobody else wanted to talk.
I gotta-
At least I make some report.
Well, I'll give you something to think about.
Okay.
I'm just going to go, I have to really go back to this 1445 Columbus Street. I still believe that if we're going to have public hearings, that if we have a consultant that is looking at different, it had 9 items that key documents received. Some of those are, wouldn't necessarily have to be attached to this, to the packet, but I really believe that when you started talking about pro formas and so forth, that I don't think the public really can make a good decision on what to say unless they see all the documents. So I think that the staff should absolutely attach whatever it has to be, so that, the documents should be attached. Secondly, our consultants made it very clear that this project shouldn't move forward unless they had real solid numbers. I frankly don't know how it got through the EDC, because our consultant made it very clear, and it's in the findings, that says the development plans as presented described a feasible project. However, it is a project with several large open items. Accordingly, this report finds that support will likely be needed for this project, but the city should consider confirmation that these items are resolved prior to issuance of an incentive. One is the budget. The response to budgeting based off a different project in a different geography makes for a useful comp, and is certainly a source for estimates. But given the sensitivity of the project returns to the, quote, but-for test, it is advised that a more tailored budget be presented prior to incentive award. This project it's not even a project in my mind. I have no idea why this is being brought before City Council, why it was brought before the EDC. You two sit on the EDC. I don't know what's discussed there, but it looks to me that just rubber stamped and off we go. This company is asking for $635,000 of our taxpayers' money. And if we don't have a project that we can really take a look at, I think we're making a huge mistake. And I really hope that in the future that the staff and the EDC and really the developer and our consultant work together to put together a project that people can look at and can give a legitimate concern or approval on it. So I just had to say that because I was really upset when I saw this. I really thought that it was very poorly handled, and I really hope that when the project comes before City Council at a different time, at a future time, that the project is put together a lot better. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Your Honor, I would like to just add on to Councilmember McLaughlin's comments. I do think that, I think going forward, I would love to see more from our Economic Development Council, Brownfield Redevelopment Corporation, about what they feel their role is, because Plant Moran is assessing the risk and feasibility of a particular project. They're not saying that there's enough public good in it that it warrants us spending the tax dollars on it. That's really the role of the council. And they should be coming to us with a value proposition that convinces us as a community, convinces us as council members of that trade-off. And it hasn't been until these last few things that have come before council where I feel like that, we're digging into it, and I don't see that that value proposition is there for the people. We're not in a position, as Mr. Weaver's stated earlier, we're not in a position fiscally that we can just spend, there has to be a public good defined in it. And anyway, I'm struggling a little bit with what's coming out of the EDC and BRC right now. Typically, I trust our committees because I know we have dedicated people that put a lot of effort into it, but I don't know if they understand the mission or if they assume that just because Plant Moran has said that it's feasible and, if we provide these grants or these, tax abatements, then it should go forward. But that's not their role. They should be prioritizing how to spend our dollars, because we don't have an infinite, we shouldn't be giving away these tax dollars.
All right, thank you.
That wasn't a report, I didn't realize it was a commentary, but
Well, okay, but it's a...
thank you for indulging me.
No, I mean, report by city council is basically an opportunity for council members to say something that wasn't otherwise on the agenda, so we did that. That is one of our roles as council members. I really don't have anything in particular to report, so I'll turn it over to Ashley.
I don't either this evening. Thank you.
All right, well, that brings us to our second call to the audience. This time, members of the audience may address council on any item, whether on the agenda or not. You may please give us your name and address. You have 3 minutes of speaking time.
It's got to be sick of me by now. Anyways, this is kind of plays into what you just said about your opportunity as council to comment on things at the end of the meeting. It's been a while that this was implemented, the call to audience, where you state, council will hear all comments for future consideration, but will not have a response at this time. The problem with that statement is you work for us, and you never say when you're going to get back to us. And I don't like it. Haven't from the get-go. And I think when appropriate, council needs to start responding to citizens. Don't say, oh, we'll get back to you maybe if I feel like it and it's brought enough heat to me. Well, I think you should use the end of these meetings as much as I'd like here. No, I actually don't care about the Tigers. I can see it on the news. It's folksy, it's cute, but you know what? This is business. We have a lot of serious issues to take care of. I mean, it's really serious. I was just, like I said, shocked with this loss of students and the funding that comes with that. But I'd like to see council start stepping up a little bit at the end of these meetings and addressing us, the public, when you can. I don't think it's appropriate to just put that one sentence statement out there, say, we'll get back to you when we feel like it, maybe. No, it doesn't even say that. It says we're not going to do anything. That's the wrong way to run a government, and it's the wrong way to run this council in this city. So I really expect to start hearing more. I appreciate the comments. You know what? We all got our opinions, and I like to hear them all because I think you'll learn when you do that. But I'd like you to start thinking long and hard when you read that sentence, that you say, can I answer a question by the end of this meeting? Can I take it? Can I take that risk? Or at least give what I'm thinking at the time? Because other than that, what's the point? So anyways, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
My name's Jeffrey Miller. I live at 1120 South Harbor Drive. I'd like to take a counter position, and I think that the sentence that was just alluded to is absolutely appropriate because it reads, council will hear all comments, which is great. You don't discriminate who can say what, and you also don't discriminate against where people come from, whether they're in the city, the township, or elsewhere. It goes on to say it's for further consideration, so it allows you time to deliberate, consider, research, understand what people have to say. and will not have a response at this time. It doesn't say you will not have a response, but you can have a response at this time. So you aren't forced to get into a debate with people who either may be belligerent, ignorant, have malice, or who are thoughtful, considerate, and hopeful. This is not the time for the debate. This is the time for you to hear what people have to say, whether it's on the street, here at city council meetings, taking questions in other forums. But I think it's totally appropriate for you just to listen, take things into consideration, and respond at a time and a place that you think is appropriate with all the information that you have, instead of getting into a minimalist debate with people who perhaps may be well-intended, but need to understand the forms that this proceeding provides everybody. So I think you folks not responding is excellent, and I would encourage you to abide by the format and directives in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rachel Doty. I live at 18611 Wood Duck Drive in Spring Lake Township. I'm here representing the Grand Haven Children's Museum, and I want to thank you all for the opportunity to continue the conversation about Central Park Place by approving the lease negotiations. Over the last many years, we've been looking and planning for the Children's Museum in earnest with our property search committee starting in January of this year. You've been incredibly helpful as we work to find that home. I want to recognize Ashley and Dana for the time they invested in our research as we looked at Central Park Place. They were very helpful in providing us a number of details to help us put our proposal together. Likewise, I want to recognize all of you on council for the time that you spent talking with us about the history of Central Park Place and helping us understand how it serves the community and what your vision is for it going forward. It really helped our board and our property search committee put together that proposal that we presented last week. And we hope to continue to work with you as we bring that vision for Central Park Place into focus together. I was there after Rotary today. I kind of hung around and I walked through the public places of Central Park Place, just kind of knowing that this meeting was coming today and envisioning what could it be as a children's museum. People probably thought it was strange if they saw me of just kind of lingering in hallways and walking outside and staring at different parts of the building. Sorry. But I think it's going to be a terrific home for the Children's Museum. And this dream for the community that's been around for 20 years, I think finally has an opportunity to be made real. So I want to thank you all for that. We are going to work our hardest to make this successful for the community and for the region. We have a great board. We have great volunteers. We found expert partners to help make this the resource for our community that it deserves to be a resource for not only our citizens, but for the visitors who come here, to showcase Grand Haven as the wonderful, caring community that it is. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. We look forward to working with you for a beneficial lease that allows us to operate a really great children's museum and allows the city to have some wins as well. So thanks a lot.
Thanks, Rachel.
That's Rachel.
Anyone else? Last chance. All right, then I'm going to close the call to the audience. Our last item on our agenda is a closed session for the purpose of a personnel review, personnel evaluation. So after we voted to go into closed session, we'll leave this room, and when we come back out, we're just simply going to close our meeting. So this is the last of the public participation portion of this meeting. So on that note, I would entertain a motion to go into a closed session.
So moved.
Motion by Lowe, second by McLaughlin. Please call the roll.
Lowe?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Fritz?
Yes.
Manetza?
Yes. So thank you all for coming.
I gotta go into this executive session. Are you gonna be available after?